Hey guys, this is Katrina back with another video. Hopefully I can speak loud enough to where you can hear me. I know there's going to be a lot of background noise. It feels like I'm yelling right now. But today I wanted to talk about self-worth versus employment. And in my life and in my previous opinions, that went hand in hand. And it almost meant the exact same thing. You know, if you had a good job and you made a good deal of money or a decent amount of money, then that meant that you had, you were worthy. You had self-worth. And if you had to work in fast food, or you had to scrub floors, or if you had to do something like that for a living, then you weren't as worthy, or your self-worth wasn't as much. And in my life, I've had two good jobs, two, and the rest of them have been just kind of grimy. You know, not the best employment if you was to look at a scale of unemployment. A lot of people would have probably preferred to be unemployed instead of work some of the jobs that I have worked, or been employed by some of the companies I've been employed for. So, one good job that I had was Comcast. As a direct sales rep, I would go door to door, and at first the offers were really good. I believed in the company. It was really easy to sell. There wasn't many competitors that it would beat, you know. And then whenever they changed the offers, they ended up more than their competitors, or there wasn't no kind of deal at all, and you had to convince people that they were making the best decision for themselves and for their family, you know, based off value instead of based off profit, especially whenever you're dealing with a lot of low-income people, or people that had already had a bad experience and already knew that the product was just the same as any other product. Or according to the area where they were at, it was equivalent to having AT&T or having, what is that one that was by Dish? I forgot. But it was supposedly like one of the really low-end ones. And there was a lot of people that said that their Dish, where they were located, worked better for their internet than their coax line for Comcast, which was astonishing to me. I couldn't believe it. But after seeing them show me, hey, Comcast isn't any faster here, then it was like, okay, well, maybe this company isn't as great as they put them out whenever we were in training and going through this training for them. But, I mean, part of the training is, they boost you up so that you can go out and make them money. So, at first, it wasn't hard to get 3 figures a week. I got paid bi-weekly, and, my checks were around $35, $32. The lowest check I had was $2,500. And for somebody who's barely made more than minimum wage her whole life, that was some really good money. And I bought a lot of things I didn't need, ate at a lot of places that weren't even good for me, gained weight because I was eating so much because I didn't know what to do with the money. Whenever their deals weren't so great anymore, their promotions they weren't even equivalent to their competitors, and they wanted us to sell off of value and explain that there was better value in Comcast than there was AT&T or any other provider. I just didn't see the value there. And it was really hard to convince someone that they were making a better decision. So I constantly got told no. And if you go knock on 100 doors in a day, and by the second or third day, your self-esteem is going to be in the toilet. Like, it is really hard to shake that off. And even the most enthusiastic person, if you just keep getting told no, it's hard to have that enthusiasm go to the next house to get told no too. So they really triggered my depression, and I ended up going into like a really deep episode of depression that lasted for a few months. Kept going to the doctor, kept getting prescribed medicine. This was also around the time that my dad had contacted me, and it just, like, all of this just happened all at once, like within a couple months span. And my self-esteem, my self-worth, my self-love, which was barely anything, just went in the toilet. Like, everything I had worked for, I had a lot of payments on stuff, had a a lot of different loans. Didn't think I would ever be back at the bottom again, and I was. And it completely crushed my self-esteem. And it was really hard for me to accept things going without getting severely depressed, without just hating life, without feeling like life just shit on me. And in the end, I realized I don't even need those things. I'm still alive. My heart is still beating. My lungs are still doing their thing. You know, my body is functioning the way it should. You know, and I have talents that are stronger in other areas than other people, you know, and I understand that I need to utilize those talents, but I didn't understand it at that time. So still trying every job that I had, I wondered, you know, I'd walk around, whether it was in a factory, whether it was in fast food, because I do have a decade of management experience in fast food. So I would just walk around and think, is this really it to life? Like, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Is this really what it looks like? And it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like this should be it, that this should be all I'm doing. And after a little while, I ended up getting a job at Lowe's distribution center and making $16 an hour. And that was hitting my bonus or my production rating, because I always exceeded expectation. And worked there for 2 years. I only worked 3 days a week, got paid for 40 hours. It was 12-hour shifts, but we had a half hour for lunch. So I always hit my goals. I was a year on Gold Performance, which is a performance rating of 120%. You know, and usually my rating was around 140 to 150, but most of the time I stayed angry, I stayed agitated, I stayed mad. And that's how I was fueled out of anger and out of frustration. Whenever I was working there, you know, a lot of times you work solo. You're by yourself. You're hardly ever with a team. If you're around someone, you're not around them very long, or you're both busy doing opposite tasks. You don't really work with someone. So it gives you a lot of time to think. And a lot of times, you know, I would realize my brain wasn't a great place, and my mind made me think things that made me unhappy, or that fueled my anger, fueled my frustration, or worry, or stress. But I didn't quite know what to do about it. But it started opening me up to the idea, you know, there's something in me that I don't like, and I wish it would change. Well, after there was an incident that made me end up losing my job there. And after that, you know, having 2 years of the same availability, my mom wasn't able to switch her schedule around for me to, you know, work a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 job, or 6 to 3, or whatever the case may be at another factory or another warehouse or whatever. So I was trying to find a weekend job, and nobody would hire me with my availability. And I ended up back in fast food, or in a semi-fast food. I thought that maybe it's at Moe's Southwest Grill. I thought maybe if I wasn't back at McDonald's, then I would have better luck in food, and my self-worth wouldn't be as pitiful. So I noticed whenever I started working there, I didn't really want to be up front. I didn't mind learning, I didn't mind helping, but I didn't want to be where people who knew me could see me, or had seen me doing better or making more money, could see me now making less money and being basically back on the bottom again. And this time around, I've realized that my self-worth isn't in my employment. It's not in a number that I make. And after my older 2 kids graduate, I'm going to build a mini home, because it'll just be me and my daughter, and there'll be plenty enough room, and there's no sense in having this 4-bedroom house that I'm going to have to clean dust off of all the time, and nobody be in those rooms. You know, what is the point? And before, I used to think, you know, because I would see older people move out of their family home or whatever and go into a small apartment, or, you know, sell a bigger house and move into a double wide or something where they didn't have as much space. And I was just like, why would you do that? And it's just like, I don't need the room. And it's just like, how could you not? This is a beautiful house. You know, it's big, it's spacious. Why would you not want to hang on to it? And now I'm getting to that point where I understand why they don't want to hang on to it, why it's just a burden to them now, why it doesn't fit their lifestyle anymore. So, knowing that I have unique gifts and talents that I'm more than average at, I'm not sure what they are. It doesn't seem like I'm any better than anyone else at things. I know most of the things that I try to do, I do exceed. But also, and I do like creating things, but I'm better at copying and modifying than I am creating. So I'm not sure like what my talent exactly is, but I know that I don't want to work in a factory for the rest of my life. I know I don't want to be in fast food for the rest of my life. I know I have a strong urge to want to help people, but I want to be in a position where I'm not taken advantage of or feel that I have to overcompensate for others' mistakes, if that makes sense. I'm not sure what my purpose is, and I think this time in my life is where I'm supposed to be trying to figure that out. So, I mean, that's part of the reason for the videos, so I can look back, see my progress, see, you know, what it is that I might have been thinking wrong about during this time, or what was I right about. You know, a lot of times whenever I kept a journal, I just put down my feelings, my thoughts, or my plans, and I didn't realize what a warped sense of self it was, or what a warped view of the world it was. So, hopefully with this, you know, and as I gain more freedom from my mind, myself, you know, my ego, and am able to concentrate more on myself and improve myself in different areas of my life, hopefully, you know, others can see that. And by these videos, I'm not leading anyone astray. Instead, I'm helping them, you know, with more things about themselves as well. So, hopefully I figure out soon what it is that I'm supposed to do. I would really like to know, because I feel like I'm just kind of stuck right now. Any job that I have looked at or applied for is not something I really want to do. It's something that I feel will work better with the schedule that I need, and it might only work short term. And you know, with Comcast and with Lowe's, I wanted to stay there. That was the place I wanted to retire from. I didn't want to have to look for more employment, and having to do that again, you know, it is kind of a downer, but I know there's a lesson in it. So, and I'm probably like one of the only people in my generation that is like, okay, let me just stay here forever. You know, even though deep down I know that's not where I'm supposed to be, but just let me stay here because I'm comfortable. I'm making enough money. I'm able to take care of my kids. I'm only working 3 days a week. You know, 3 rough days a week. And, you know, I did work my ass off. You know, I lost weight while I was there because I ran myself ragged, but I was so fueled with anger and frustration, you know, and maybe I needed to see that. I ended up finding out that I had a kidney stone and a horseshoe kidney, and that was, I didn't really drink during the time that I worked there. I haven't drank barely at all since I had my daughter, which I'm really glad, because that's whenever I found out, you know, I have kidney issues. And, you know, drinking isn't good for your kidneys. People who's had a kidney transplant or only has one kidney, they're told not to drink at all. You know, take care of yourself. Don't consume caffeine. You know, pay attention to your diet. Try to live a healthier lifestyle. So I'm really glad that, you know, I was there, and I did find out, you know, that I do have a body that does need taking care of, because I was born with this defective kidney, and it can really cause me trouble. You know, I could die from it. Now, I don't want to be on dialysis at the age of 35. I want to meet my grandkids. I don't want to be stuck in a hospital barely alive. So, and that's one push, the reason why I really want the mini home, because I don't know what is guaranteed in my life. And if I have to jump from McDonald's to McDonald's or Burger King to Burger King to make my way around the world, then that's what I'm going to do. You know, I want to see the world. I was put here for a reason, and I want to experience it. I want to be able to go take a self-empowerment class. I want to be able to go to Hawaii and do like one of the meditations that they have on the islands. I want to be able to go and do a yoga retreat. I want to be able to experience life, and I'm not going to do that from the staying in the same city where I live, only navigating 20 miles either direction. I'm not gonna do that from feeling this need to work all the time to pay all these bills. And yeah, I could have my house paid off in the next, like, I don't know, 20 years. But in 20 years, I don't know if I'm going to be alive. I don't know if what my kidney is going to be doing then. And that's not something I'm willing to wait on. You know, and this being unhappy for the next 20 years so that I can get this thing paid off. And who knows the amount of money I'm also going to lose in all the modifications that I'm going to have to do, all the remodels that I'm going to have to do, because it was an older house whenever I bought it, and I knew there was going to be money sunk into it. So hopefully I figure out my path. I know I don't really care how I get around the world or how I get around at least this country, but I'm going to do it one way or another. So if y'all have any ideas for me or any suggestions, leave them in the comments. And if you haven't checked out the playlist that I created for my life, definitely check that out. It's an inspiring story. Haven't made it to the good part yet, so you won't be able to hear the good parts. But it's kind of lengthy. There's probably going to be, I would say, at least 10 videos to it. So depending on how much my children let me get done. But y'all have a good day. Stay safe in this COVID-19 pandemic going around. Hopefully nobody else gets sick. You know, stay inside. I seen an email that was sent to me. It says, feel if you feel healthy, stay inside. If you feel, you know, like nothing's wrong with you, stay inside. You know, don't get around people. You know, I'm working in food, and who knows if one of us is sick or if we're carrying it, you know, and people still come to eat. And I mean, yeah, we're not coughing or sneezing or anything all over the food, but still, you know, it is scary because you don't know. And even though every time I touch somebody's debit card to swipe their card, or anytime I touch money, I'm washing my hands, but you don't know if somebody else is doing that somewhere else. So definitely be careful, and now is a good time for you to be washing your food and eating at home. You know, if you don't know how to cook, there is YouTube, there is Google, there is Pinterest. You know, look up some recipes, get creative. And people are not buying the fresh fruits and vegetables. So I went to the store so scared I wasn't going to be able to get enough food for us, and nobody's eating the vegetables. Everybody wants the processed meat, the canned stuff. You know, a few canned vegetables were gone, but you know, most of the stuff is mainly the meat, the SpaghettiOs, the raviolis, the macaroni, stuff like that you don't even need to consume anyway. So, you know, get creative, learn how to cook something new. You know, you might like it. So I'll check in with y'all again whenever I've had another revelation about something, or if something else that I have forgotten from my previous stuff that I have already done healing on or went through, if I think of something like that, I'll post a video. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.